The abandoned dungeon hides many of Ashina's dark secrets. Today, we're going to talk about the human experiments performed by surgeons Dousaku and Doujun, and about the truth behind the Red Eyes of Ashina. We encounter Doujun, Dousaku's disciple, when we make our way through the Ashina dungeon to the infamous Senpou temple. He waits in front of a small door, surrounded by multitudes of diseased prisoners. He is a strangely normal sight in this rotting place, but for a moment we will ignore him. We shall cheat. Since we have already killed the corrupted monk, we are able to go round the back and dive our way into the surgeon's facility, before even talking to him. Inside, we find an old note left by the surgeon Dousaku. My disciples have abandoned me for Dogen, unwilling to dirty their own hands. They all left me for that hypocritical quack. Doujun, my last disciple. Even if I die, the research must continue. Finish the procedure, for Ashina's sake. Dogen. This is one of the few references we have of him. Doctor, inventor of the shinobi prosthetic, foster father to Emma, friend to Isshin and Orangutan, and rival to Dousaku. It seems like Dogen was using less radical means in his experimentation, which caused all of Dousaku's disciples to flee to him, leaving just one of them out here, Doujun, who is waiting for us on the other side of this very door. Doujun is surprised to see us here.
What are you doing here? Of all places.
Despite the entrance to this place being nearly wide open to anyone. It is literally a horror show in the backyard of Ashina Castle. Yet he is swift to hand us a note. A worn and bloodstained letter from Dousaku, Doujun's master. Required, one tough man, preferably a strong samurai, or a young large soldier such as a member of the Taro troop. Must be delivered unharmed. Dousaku. The members of the Taro troop are these giants with baby eyes we often encounter. One of them, Kotaro, sits right at the entrance of the Senpou temple. He is a monk, seemingly tasked with looking after the children of the rejuvenating waters. And it seems like he lost them and cannot remember anything. Today, we will be following the option of bringing Kotaro, because bringing in Jinzaemon has less lore in it. By the way, I wonder, can we abduct Kotaro before completing his quest? I'm pretty sure we can't. Oh crap. I can't bring him to Doujun now, can I? Oh well. Video over. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Okay, just kidding. Let me just duplicate the save file before it records by failure. Alright, loading it, we should be good. Now, we give Kotaro the red and white flower to send him to Doujun. When you suggest Kotaro to visit the abandoned dungeon, he says something really curious.
Make your way to the abandoned dungeon of Ashina Castle.
Huh? Abandoned dungeon?
Yes.
My daddy is there.
What?
Yeah, he did something bad. But he wasn't taken to a cell like you normally would. They took him to a place that was damp, like a dirt cellar.
I see.
So, Kotaro's father seems to have been sent to the abandoned dungeon for doing something bad. As to where exactly in the dungeon he was sent, I would assume that means that he was not locked in a metal cage like this one, but rather thrown into one of the cellars, like the one where Dousaku's and Doujun's facility is. In fact, in one of those cellars we find the following note, left by, apparently, Kotaro's father. I will read the important part. This is as far as that old Okami tome could take me. But did they truly reach the Fountainhead Palace? I'd like to know, but it seems I never will. Kotaro, forgive me. There is a theory that Master Dousaku could be Kotaro's father, but I will come back to this later. There are other things I need to talk about before that. We successfully sent Kotaro off to the abandoned dungeon, where he hopes to find his father and stays there unconscious. With the door open, we can check up on him anytime. By the way, Have you noticed the suspicious absence of Master Dousaku? We seem to only interact with Doujun, and Dousaku is definitely not in the cell whenever we enter it. So let's try entering the cell during the next part of the quest, when Apprentice Doujun is supposed to talk with Master Dousaku about the procedure. He is literally talking to air, and responding to himself in a different voice, as it seems. Dousaku and Doujun are the same person. We either have a case of a split personality, or Master Dousaku ended up dying and somehow possessing the body of Doujun. Dousaku's note did say, "Even if I die, the research must continue." Approaching him right now gives us this special line of dialogue.
How is the progress, Master Dousaku? Doujun! Of course. Master, I'll be sure to give clear, detailed instructions. My dear shinobi, this is not proper. You cannot simply enter this facility as you please without notification. Please, take your leave.
Okay, they didn't like that. Moving on. It appears as if they are using the rejuvenating waters on Kataro, and after that he is no longer human.
It's not human. Not anymore.
The more I look into Sekiro lore, the more I see the concept of humanity being talked about. Well, after that we're casually suggested to go fetch the red eyes of a Sakura carp. Red eyes, finally. Let's talk about those. They are in the title for a reason. There are 7 notable characters outside the abandoned dungeon that have red eyes. There are others I'm not mentioning, but we'll talk about these 7. There are 2 pot nobles, which gain red eyes after they become carps. There is the Sakura carp we're about to kill. There is the mini-boss, Ashina Elite Ujinari Mizuo in Ishin's dojo. And there are 2 ogres. Yes, 2 of them. In the latest patch, FromSoft added red eyes to the mini-boss ogre in Ashina Castle. Oh, and Lord Genichiro, of course, right there. So, what's in common here? Where do the red eyes originate from? We actually have sort of a direct explanation. The Ministry dowsing powder tells us. The Ministry feared Ashina, her eyes bloodshot with the waters of rejuvenation. Originally, it says red eyes, turned into bloodshot eyes during translation. So, the waters of rejuvenation give you red eyes. But it's not that simple. The carps have permanent red eyes, after seemingly drinking the waters in their noble days, and so do giants. Genichiro, on the other hand, temporarily gains red eyes and goes back to normal the next time we encounter him. He is not afraid of fire at any point we can test it. The difference comes in how the rejuvenating waters are consumed. Those who drink the waters for an extended period of time slowly gain longevity and fear of flame. After a while, their eyes could start turning red, and they stay that way. Whatever it is in the waters that creates that effect eventually crystallizes into a shelter stone, which is known to form in the bodies of those who drink the rejuvenating waters for a long time. Genichiro's case is different. Emma tells us that he consumed the rejuvenating sediment, a concentrate of the rejuvenating waters. A sediment is basically settled down particles that were floating inside a liquid. Emma explains how Dogen was researching the uses and effects of the rejuvenating sediment. And that is what Genichiro consumes when he is on the brink of death, after failing to beat us using the way of Tomoe. The rejuvenating sediment's effect seemed to be temporary compared to permanent effect of the rejuvenating waters. Emma also tells us that Doujun retrieved some of Dogen's notes about the rejuvenating sediment, and now he is trying to research them, following Dogen's path, and we are helping him. So, we kill and retrieve the red eyes of a Sakura carp. Dousaku and Doujun are going to use them to better research the effects of the rejuvenating waters. Interestingly, red carp eyes are soaked in lore of their own. Carps with only eyes that are red cannot become masters. Though they're considered incomplete creatures that lack the ideal number of scales, their eyes are said to be everlasting. If we take a dip into Chinese mythology, we will learn that a dragon has the scales of a carp, and that a dragon has exactly 117 scales, 81 to represent Yang and 36 to represent Yin. Since the red-eyed carps are lacking the ideal number of scales, it seems like our red-eyed pot nobles will never be able to become dragons after all. Well, let's bring the eyes back to our surgeons. Sadly, it seems like Doujun isn't as enthusiastic as his master about these new experiments. Perhaps he foresees himself becoming the next subject.
I'm sure the master will be ecstatic, even if I am not. Try as I might, I'm unable to muster the same level of enthusiasm.
Doujun, you novice.
And indeed, the next time we're back, Kotaro is nowhere to be found, and Doujun is having an argument with Dousaku.
Master Dousaku, what on earth? What? Surely you don't intend to use that on me?
Very astute, my apprentice. You are the next subject.
Please, no! As I feared, you have strayed from the path of medicine. Why would you do such a thing? No, Master. The rejuvenating waters have bewitched you. Master, please answer me. Please, answer me, Master. Why? Why would you answer me? Answer me, Dousaku! Dousaku!
And it seems like Dousaku is gone. Instead of his voice, we only hear animalistic growls. At this point, we can actually go and fight Kotaro on the small island in the back, without waiting for Doujun to get there. Kotaro has red eyes, and still seeks his... We can kill him by just spiriting him away, just like any other monk. Could Kotaro's father have been Master Dousaku? He was sent off to the abandoned dungeon for doing horrible things, which could be the Red Eyes experiments. He was put into a damp cellar-like place, and that's where we'll find Doujun and Dousaku inside his body. He was searching for a shelter stone. The shelter stone could be related to the rejuvenating sediment. It is known to form in bodies of those who drink rejuvenating waters for a long time. Perhaps the same thing that settles and becomes the sediment is what remains and crystallizes in the body of those who drink the waters, later turning into the shelter stone. But the rotting prisoner's note states that it was left by a dead and rotting man. If Master Dousaku indeed died, and if his mind managed to occupy Doujun's body, he could be Kotaro's father. Is it likely or consequential? Well, probably not. Even the tone of the notes is extremely different. But the father experimenting on his own son, that would add another tragic layer to the story of Sekiro. So, what of Doujun? Well, he gets here, eventually. His eyes are red and he screams of his triumph. Based on his fighting style, he seems to be one of the Simple Temple's monks. His clothes do look like those of these guys. And yet, for some reason, he cannot be spirited away. I assume whatever the ritual all the monks went through, Doujun didn't. Could Dousaku and Dogen be Senpo monks though? They could. If anyone could create the divine children of rejuvenation, it was probably Dogen. Dousaku calls him a hypocrite for a reason. As we kill Doujun and Kotaro, we receive 2 red lumps. We barely see these items in the game, yet they are key to the Red Eye experiments. The red lumps are the rejuvenating sediment itself. Take a look. When Genichiro takes the sediment after being beaten by you, he gets the same red aura effect and glowing eyes as Wolf when he consumes the red lump. The effect wears off. When you fight him again, his eyes are back to normal. The sediment and the red lump have the same effect. They do literally the same thing. So what could be the nature of those? The game has multiple descriptions for the lumps, so here's a compilation for you. A round red lump found inside the body of red-eyed Doujun. A red mass is the lingering trace of one who was unable to achieve their desires. Slightly warm to the touch, it pulsates softly. consumed to gain red eyes and reduce flinching from enemy attacks, but also prohibits the use of resurrection. The red mass will not mold or wither, and though it does no harm, it will likely remain in the stomach even after its potency has worn off. Inability to achieve one's desires could reference the pot nobles, who became red-eyed carps and not master carps, Kotaro, who could not reunite with his father, Jinzeimon, who never found that shamisen player. It is hard to trace their origins beyond these points, so let's try to decipher what a red lump consists of. It seems to disable our resurrection power, essentially cutting off our access to the power of dragon's blood. That is reminiscent of Mortal Blade's power, which is also capable of interfering with immortality. Eating the red lump makes Wolf produce a red aura, which is similar to that of our Mortal Blade, and to the glow Genichiro gets when he summons Isshin. The red lump is said to be warm to the touch and slightly pulsing, which almost suggests an organic nature to me. There is a chance these are immortal centipede eggs, giving the lumps persistent nature. Besides that, the red eyes are afraid of fire. Burning and drowning are the two best ways of killing Mukade, the inspiration behind immortal centipedes. Out of these suggestions, I would probably choose the Mortal Blade one. It would explain, in a way, why the dragon is suffering after taking root in Ashina waters. All we know for sure is Dousaku and Doujun succeeded in recreating Dogen's research. But now, despite the price they had to pay, all knowledge of the rejuvenating sediment is forever buried. Thanks to us. Thanks for watching, friends. Like and subscribe if you found this interesting. Hope to see all of you in the next one.